Hi, everybody. It's Denise, and today we're going to talk about the Aries new moon partial solar eclipse coming up on March 29th. It's going to be at about 3:57 a.m. Pacific time. Universal time is 11:57, so please, check for adjust for that wherever you are in the world. All right, the peak time to be able to see the eclipse will be at about 10:47 Universal Time. Once again, please go ahead and adjust for that. So what is the new moon eclipse about? It's all about Aries and new beginnings and taking ownership for who we really are, what we really want. It's about going after your dreams. It sure is. It's about having the courage, the drive, and kind of the spontaneity as well. We can, often refer to, or, Aries can often be about just, hey, I like this, I'm going to do it. So the new moon is always about something more hopeful and planting seeds. And this also is relating to the Libra, I believe it was the Libra full moon, but dating back to, October of last year. And so this is going to be like a continuation. So whatever we have whatever you have not done or completed, last fall, maybe you are completing it now, right? Uh, Especially as we step out of Pisces. We're still in Pisces when I do this video, we're still in Pisces season, but Pisces is really about endings, but it's about also owning that ending and transcending and overcoming the obstacles that have held us back, enable to move forward. And here we are into the next sign very soon, right? Aries will move into, the sun will move into Aries on, I believe it's on the 20th of the month of March. So, Aries is the first sign in the horoscope. So this is all about, new beginnings. It's a cardinal sign as well. So at the time, if you can see the screen here, here's the moon at 9 degrees. So if you have any planets at 9 degrees of any cardinal sign, right, which is Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn, I believe. Yeah. So those are the cardinal signs. And this is, the type of kind of archetype that just says, hey, I'm all in. I'm going for this. I want this. I deserve it. Things like that. So that's what the Aries new moon is going to be about. It's going to be about, and the eclipse for sure, because the eclipses bring in revelations. They can bring about major transformation, but they can show us too, like what needs really to go, or what really, maybe even what we have hung around with or kept, what needs to go now, right? With the eclipse. So this is going to be about rising up and allowing or pursuing everything that's important to us. Just rise up, right? It can really play out that way and manifest that way. We can feel more motivated, more bolder rather, not more bolder, bolder, and more excited about our interests and our future. We'll be more driven and even perhaps a little headstrong. So when we have this eclipse, it can bring endings, of course, new beginnings, revelations. It definitely brings change. These can last up to 6 months. Any type of change or manifestation of an eclipse. But with the new moon, it definitely will be about just seeing what's really important to us and not waiting anymore. Yeah, not the fool in the tarot, which represents Aries, is just he just gets up and leaves one day and he says, "Hey, I'm gonna go. I'm doing this, right?" And he's excited about it. He's not worried about it. Aries is about surrendering also to the universe, surrendering to spirit and just trusting. And that's exactly what the fool is doing. He's trusting, right? He's kind of just going out on his path. He's got his dog or his cat, depending on the deck that you may have, right? The tarot deck. But it's definitely about, let me take this leap of faith. Let me trust in the universe. Let me not worry anymore. Right? Sometimes Pisces, interesting, we're stepping out of Pisces energy. Sometimes Pisces can have a tendency to worry. So it's a time to get rid of that, right? Really, and move beyond that, and uh, and move beyond our fears and our doubts, and have the courage. And we can, I feel like Pisces has really set us up or prepared us really, because Pisces is the 12th house of endings and closure, but also about transcendence, which is really overcoming our obstacles spiritually, and trusting the divine, knowing that the divine is, even though you are not able to touch it or feel it, possibly it is there, right? And to believe in the invisible, and that's what Pisces is about too, believing in the impossible, like anything's possible with the Pisces energy, right? All right, so Aries is ruling the head, teeth, tongue, penis, gallbladder, arteries, and blood. So at this time, maybe there's more care. You may need to pay a little bit more attention to those parts of the body during the transit of the moon. And as you can see, Aries is a very masculine sign as it rules the penis. Yeah. So Aries is a fire sign. It's a very fast energy. Take your time, you guys. Don't rush this. Don't rush it, and go with your own comfortable pace. So we still have, you can see the wheel here, and we still have this planetary alignment, the major planetary alignment in Pisces. This is a stellium, and we have one also in Aries. Um, Although that will change. Well, the moon, the sun will move. That will change though. But for now, we still have the stellium here, and these are basically planetary forces coming together. That is kind of the best way, even if there is a little bit of sometimes duality or kind of something. They still come together in some way. These planets, and they are showing us, depending on our houses, right? Depending on and our signs, to showing us, what we really should be doing, kind of, or it's guiding us is the best way to put that there. All right, so the sun will be in Aries, and the sun, everything will be Aries, right? And so the moon and the sun together in a new moon, they are joined together. Those are all also joining forces, joining up. It's almost like the moon and the sun are married at the time of a new moon, because the sun is the divine masculine, and the moon is the divine feminine. So with the new moon, we are trusting our intuition, trusting our dreams. That's very Cancerian as well. But we are trusting with the moon, right? We're trusting that, and we're having courage to really kind of be who we really want to be in this life, right? During this time, because the sun is about our leadership, and as is the Aries moon. Aries is about leadership. It's about independence and taking responsibility for our lives. So, yeah, and so with the sun and the moon there, we're going to be able to really kind of, with the sun there, we're going to be able to really see what needs to what needs to happen really, or what we need to do ourselves. All right. And the sun in Aries here, when it will be in Aries, on the, at that time, the sun hasn't moved into Aries. It'll move into Aries on the 20th, I believe, of March. But during the new moon, eclipse here, we have the sun and the moon joined together, and the sun is showing us what needs to change, as I mentioned, but the moon is allowing us to trust our intuition. So, but here we have Neptune here, and there's a hidden conjunction. Um, there is here. So that conjunction is also in Pisces here with the moon. It's a very loose connection. It is. Um, yeah, because of the orb here. But still, we have a joining of forces. And once again, this is saying, let go of whatever needs to go with Neptune and Pisces. Neptune is at 29 degrees. This is an anaretic degree, and this is about endings. It's at 29 degrees of the 12th house, or Pisces. So this is definitely showing us that these are fated endings and fated new beginnings that happen during the eclipses. All right. Okay, so the stellium in Pisces, and here it is, these planets joining forces, is definitely connected to, the new moon, because I was saying this is the 12th house of endings, and here we have Aries. So Mercury is here as well. Mercury is pushing us, part of the stellium in Pisces, to be smarter about our dreams. Here it is. Here's Mercury, actually. It's not in Pisces. It will be at 0 degrees of Aries at the time of the lunation, at the time of the eclipse, right? And so Aries, I mean, Mercury here with Neptune, as we see it right here, this is a hidden conjunction because they're in different signs. But this is allowing us to be smarter. It's guiding us really to be smarter about our dreams and to merge our intuition with our mind. Yeah, that is right. And this is when we are using left and right brain. It is always the best combination. All right, so Venus is here. Here's Venus. It's encouraging us to be more loving and to act with more self-care, right? And that's really important. Venus is actually Venus is retrograde at the time as Mercury will be retrograde as well. So that's a little important. But Venus in the 12th house here, this can be, sometimes this is just letting us step back to kind of look at what we need to overcome possibly in that 12th house of endings, or what we need to let go of, what we need to allow to dissolve or fade or, yeah, or, just let go of, leave behind. And so the North Node of Fate is here as well, and here's the North Node, and this is always encouraging us to evolve and strive toward what we want in this life, right? And this is how we evolve as well as we are walking in our life path, and we are walking along uh, a path that we really believe in, and we are trusting in while we surrender basically to the universe. But the North Node of Fate here is, it's about fate and destiny, but it is actually guiding us a little bit to leave behind what is no longer relevant as it sits in Pisces, the natural 12th house of endings. So we have so many fated events that are going to be happening with these transits for sure. Um, and Saturn is here. Where is Saturn? Saturn sits right here. That's helping us to have more self-discipline and leadership. It can be reminding us, right, of that, or personal agency. We have to be our own personal agents. And that's really what uh, Aries is about. It's about taking responsibility of our life. We have to be our own agents. Yes, we do. And here is the moon down here. It's squaring Mars, the ruler of the eclipse. So here is Mars, and here's the square that we have right here with the square. Squaring Mars. The squares are always about something, some type of tense energy or tense dynamic, usually prompting change or action. But it's creating tension with Mars. Mars is in the 4th house of home and family and our emotional support. So this will compel us to move forward toward our desires with conviction and not letting our emotions judge us or cloud our judgment, not judge us, but cloud our judgment. Yeah. And so let's talk about Aries now. And Aries, this new moon is yours, basically, as is the solar eclipse, right? So the intro is definitely relevant. Your ruling planet Mars is well aspected throughout the wheel because we see here Mars sextiling Uranus here. We see it with the little asterisk. It's well aspected very favorably here on the wheel. Only kind of really great transits coming from Mars. And I talked about the moon squaring Mars, and that was the only one putting pressure for us to take action toward our desires. Here is Mars once again, and here is the moon toward our desires, and yeah, and not to let our emotions hold us back. So there's going to be opportunities for you, Aries, in March and April, and the sun goes into your sign on the 20th. So let's look at your sign, let's look at the chart here, and there's a sextile with Mars and the South Node. So here's Mars up here, your planet, the ruler of the eclipse, Aries, and it is uh, sextiling the South Node. So this is again about new beginnings because the South Node is about leaving things behind that no longer served us or they no longer suit us. We've outgrown it. We've evolved. We don't want that anymore. We don't want to behave that way anymore. We don't, maybe we don't want certain friends or We're not into any type of something, some type of group or, affiliation, maybe, but leave that behind. Learn from it if there is a lesson, definitely, but leave it behind, right? And this can also talk about past lives, real past lives here, because we are always, to some degree or another, carrying some past karma. I don't really like to use that word, but it kind of, we're carrying these past kind of burdens with us because from our ancestors, and we carry them into this life and we often don't know. So this is Mars here is about taking action, and here is the South Node. Leave something, there's an opportunity to leave something behind here in order to move forward and really kind of surrender to this Aries energy, right? All right, so yeah, there could be something here that you feel like, Aries, that is hindering something from the past or something about the past or related that is, if you are, aware of that, right, that is hindering, you feel like it's hindering your evolution. Sometimes, as I said, these are just from past lives. If you guys want to get a past life reading with me, yeah, you can always get one of those. Yeah, I'm a certified, and they are Dolores Cannon style, in case you are familiar with her. So let's see here. And whatever you're leaving behind, Aries, right here with the Mars sextiling the South Node. The South Node is in Virgo, right? We see Virgo right there. The South Node's in Virgo. So when we have the South Node, this can be, about, it is your sixth house of daily responsibilities, your work, your health, really important, kind of what makes your life work, right? The South Node is here. There could be something about your routine, your lifestyle, or maybe it has to do with health or work, and you're just like you're leaving that behind. And that's what this is about. Once again, a new beginning. But it's in Virgo, as I said. It can also be about like maybe you are not kind of holding on to things, or when I say holding on to things, maybe over analyzing things, because Virgo also rules like analytics and you know uh, critical thinking even. And that's why, Virgo can sometimes be ruled by Mercury. Sometimes they can be nitpickers or kind of nags, or like, they know it, they know this is the right way to be, and this is the right method, this is the right way. And so I need to go that way, which is fine. But there could be something over here that was, maybe you were over analyzing something as well, and you're just kind of letting it go. All right. Um, yeah, and that could be lifestyle related, as I said. Okay, so Mars is again sextiling Uranus. Here's Mars, and here is the sextile. So the sextile is always written here, or symbolizing here with the little asterisk, right, which really is a star. But here we have it sextiling Uranus. This is about change, an opportunity for change that will be somewhat easier than maybe, somewhat easier than just feeling a little bit easier and kind of going with the flow. That's what this is about. Uranus does like to go with the flow, but it's about really kind of going with my flow, going with your own flow. This is about independence as well, as is Mars here. So there's change. There could be unexpected events in your life, Aries, with that sextile, that opportunity to kind of go with change, and to maybe to be your own agent in some way. This can be a major maturity and a major evolution as well. And so Mars has several trines creating ease. The trines are here. We can think of them kind of like they're triangles, right? Maybe as a trinity, but it is basically the trine is about things kind of just blending and working out, and a trine can sometimes be seen possibly as something that, you let something kind of fix itself, right? You're letting it heal itself, sort of, or you're letting a problem kind of sort itself out. But this is definitely about things being easier and more natural. The trine can have to do with your natural abilities as well, your innate abilities. But we have so many trines here with Mars, your ruling planet. And here is Mars and trining these here, these planets right here. And so we see that, let's have a look at Mars and see how many planets. Okay, so it is trining these planets in Pisces, with Venus, the North Node, and Saturn. It's moving away from Saturn a little bit here, but we still have this trine. And this can be something really great, as I was saying. Let me exit this here. Oops. Let me exit the full screen and uh, we'll go back to that. All right, so let's get back to this now. But Mars has several trines. Also, trining the MC in your eighth house of power, shared money, and resources in intimate relationships. This is also the house of ordeals. Yeah, it's the house of truth, right? And it is the house of transformation. And so here we see psychic ability as well. Anything that is relative to your eighth house. This is about the taboo, the money you share with other people, intimate relationships, real estate, and power, and versus kind of doubts and fears. And so that's where that is everything, sitting here in your eighth house. The MC is here. The MC is about your own leadership, your career, your authority, and your ambition. It can be about your father too, but here we have a trine right here to the MC, and here is the triangle. So, this is anything related to that will be easier for you to accomplish, Aries. And Mars is also in a square to Chiron. Okay, so this is the only real, except the moon, I believe, too. Um, yeah, and here is Chiron. Oh wow, Chiron right here next to the moon. But the Mars here is squaring Chiron, right? So squares are about tension. We need to take action. We need to do something about it. You're right. It's kind of, it can put pressure on us somewhat. And so here we see Mars with with Chiron. This is about healing. This is about uh, get over something. It can be like to remind yourself, hey, I just need to kind of move forward in my life, and something could be holding you back here with regards to anything that is very personal to you, maybe some type of sensitivity or vulnerability. Chiron can be about it's about our vulnerability, sensitivity, sometimes weaknesses like physical. It can be, but it's also about something we just kind of feel funny about, like we might feel a little inadequate. And so Chiron is there, but Mars is squaring Chiron, putting pressure to take ownership of your life, to take whatever it is that needs healing, whatever it needs introspection, deep introspection. Just do it and get over it, because this is basically um, helping with your own personal path and your evolution, Aries. All right. And this is a time where you can embrace and when I say get over it, right, it's a bit nicer to say, to embrace it. Embrace your vulnerabilities. We all have them, right? We all have things, and just like some people are really great at some things, and everybody's great at some things, and everybody also has their own vulnerabilities. So this is a time to embrace it, and maybe admit it and work forward if it is something psychological, and move forward and see that. It can be Chiron there with Mars squaring, yeah, especially in Aries. It can be about, hey, take a really good look at your shadow side, right? And let the light come true. When we can see the shadow, what's in our shadows, what has kind of held us back, or qualities we don't like about ourselves, or it can be a many things, but things that are not really helping us, right, and keeping us in a lower energy, a lower, less joyful, or a lower vibration. When we see Mars there squaring Chiron, yeah, just embrace it and learn from this and move forward and just be your authentic self, because Chiron sits in Aries, and that is about your authentic self, some type of sensitivity there. And here is Mars. Mars is all about the authentic self because it is represents the first house of self, how you assert yourself in the world when you're born, all of that. And so with this square, we can actually go from kind of being possibly from the victim to the victor, right? And, that may be extreme, right? From the victim, but to the victor. But, we can overcome. That's it. And we can look at ourselves in a whole new light, um, right? We can. So Mars also in a trine with the stellium. Here's the stellium. Here, I said it was, um, yeah, like trining here, trining these planets, these few planets that are here. Um, but this is really huge for you, right? Trining these planets in Pisces. A trine will add ease, as I said, and we have Mars at, um, Mars is in a water sign right here. So when we see the trine, we know that the other planets are over here in another water sign, right? It's the same element. So this is about depth. It is with Pisces and Cancer about things. This is about things that are very deep, things that maybe have been pushed down into our psyche. It really can be. But we have the trine here. And so this is about taking action and just being who you authentically are. That's really Mars is about being very authentic. And be who you really are, and keep striving to be your best self, or to really realize your own potential. This is about individuation. It is. And so when we see Mars there with this trine, um, yeah, with Neptune, Venus, here they are, Neptune, Venus, the north node of fate and destiny, right? And then we have Saturn. So this new moon is really, really huge for you, Aries, with that going on right there. All right, so let's talk about Taurus now. Taurus, the new moon solar eclipse occurs in your 12th house of endings, the psyche, the ideal, and closure. So Pisces is about like the ideal. Like I want that's ideal. And they see that kind of like a wish sort of, but and it is about the turning the impossible into the possible. With Pisces, we can, basically hope and kind of fantasize about uh, the ideal, right? And having that in our lives. All right, it's about our dreams, the dreams we want to make come true. Pisces is also about the 12th house, Taurus. So that's where the new moon is happening for you. It's happening in your 12th house, but your 12th house, so this is about endings and new beginnings, right? But your 12th house is Aries is in Pisces. Yeah. So this is why this has to do with endings and new beginnings, especially especially maybe, especially for you as well, right? For all of us, but with the 12th house, where the eclipse sits, definitely about endings and new beginnings for you. So Venus is at 28 degrees. Um, is at 28 degrees here for you, Taurus. I hope I didn't say Aries. No, I hope I didn't. But for you, Taurus, Venus is at 28 degrees in of Pisces. This is your planet here, right? And this is the house of the future and change and innovation and uh, gains. And so with that, Venus sitting there, although it is retrograde, it's in a very tight conjunction, joining forces with the North Node right here. The North Node is at 27 degrees and Venus is at 28 degrees. So and the lunar nodes are really important here because the lunar node is connected to the moon. This is why it's called the lunar node, right? This lunation that is happening here in Aries. But over here, yeah, and Luna actually means, or lunatic. It means that somebody lunatic is, how we're behaving during the time of these eclipses or new moons and full moons. We can feel quite emotional and kind of up and down and a little bit unstable during these. And actually, for the eclipse, we can feel this for up to 6 months. So yeah, so That is where they get the term lunatic, but our emotions are very heightened at the time of the new moon. The full moon will be very heightened during the eclipse. They will. And so our emotions, right? It can actually have us feeling confused too during this new moon eclipse. And we might feel a little bit crazy around that time, right? So Taurus, Venus is beautifully aspected. Let's have a look. Here's Venus. And it is very aspect with all the other planets. Yeah, it really is around the zodiacal wheel. And so Venus is actually is retrograde, but Venus is trining Mars. So let's look at that. Here's Venus, and here is the trine to Mars up here. Remember, Mars is the ruler of the eclipse. So this is why I keep talking about Mars, right? The new moon's in Aries, but the ruling planet for Mars is Aries. So Venus is in your house of the future, as I said, Taurus, the 11th house, while in a powerful trine to Mars, both are in water signs, creating more depth, meaning, and depth to this more empathy perhaps too. And so Mars is in your third house of the mind. Here you are, Taurus, here, the third house of the mind. Goals and willpower, our communication, siblings, and the neighborhood. Anything that really has to do with our decisions, our thoughts, thought processes, things like that. This can be about our siblings in the neighborhood for you in the third house. And this can be a good time for romance. And because of Venus here with this trine with Mars, can be a very it can be a time for romance. It really can, because Venus. Remember, Venus is really kind of depicted as the divine feminine goddess, and here we have the divine masculine. Really with Mars, right? He is the god of war, but we have the feminine and the masculine here, and they're in trine. So definitely, you might see romance in your life. This can also be about, this here, where was I? Venus can also be about Taurus. It's also about our money and our possessions. It's about love, and just being kind of loving and, in our lives toward ourselves and toward others, right? It's where we get the self-care, but it's about beauty. It's about our possessions and, and what makes us feel comfortable, our money and our resources. So there's something really good going on for you there, Taurus, with the Mars Venus trine for sure. Um, and all right, this could also be about your values, possibly, Taurus, because um, it could be about your values here, because Venus is about your values, as I said. It can be about your resources, your self-esteem, and anything that you value or that you see as valuable, right? This can also be about learning to live with more harmony in our lives. Venus also is the ruler of your where are you, Taurus? Your sixth house, because here's Libra. So Libra is your sixth house ruler, but there's nothing in Libra right now. There are no planets here. But the sixth house, this can you have Venus is here, and this is where the beauty aspect comes in, and relationships when we have uh, your sixth house ruled by Venus again, right? This can be about you having a different approach to love as well, to relationships. Taurus could be, we have Venus right here opposing the south node, and here's the south node right across, making an opposition. And this is the need to release old patterns. That's what the south node is about. Release old patterns and behaviors related to either relationships. It can be about maybe, um, this is in your fifth house. Yeah, it still can be about love for you. It can be about creative endeavors, possibly. It can also be about leadership and kind of leadership in your own life, as the sun rules the fifth house. And that is where the south node is sitting right here. Yeah, in your fifth house. And so And you could also be, there could be a need to release some old patterns in order for you to feel more authentic, live more authentically, and just, experience more kind of maybe some more self-esteem. But this is also, it's really a time for an authentic approach. That is the best way to put that. The best for an authentic approach as we continue on this path of life, right? It's about being yourself, loving yourself, and going with the flow, Taurus. So let's talk about Gemini now. In Gemini, the new moon and the eclipse takes place in your 11th house of the future, social groups, technology, and change. So here you are, Gemini, on the wheel, and here is Jupiter in your sign. Just to point out where you are here, Mercury, your ruling planet, is in your 10th house. So where is your 10th house? Right up here. Let's see, Gemini, that is not your 10th house. Mercury's here. Here's your 10th house here. Excuse me. And Mercury is your ruling planet in your 11th house. Mercury also rules your 4th house of home and family and emotional stability, basically, or emotional support. Anything that has to do with the emotional mind. And so Mercury in this 10th house of career down here, which is in Aries, right? Right here. Um, yeah, actually Mercury is in your 11th house. I beg your pardon, because it has moved here. And this is your 11th. Mercury has moved. It's at 0 degrees of Aries, the first degree of Aries, really. And so Mercury is in a tight conjunction with Neptune, Venus, Saturn, right over all these, right? It really is. Even though this is really a hidden conjunction because they're in different signs. So this, Mercury showing up in your 11th house of the future, it's definitely about change. It's about you being able to you could be changing too. Maybe your work's changing. Something about, your thoughts maybe have really changed about something with Mercury right there in the 11th house. Maybe you're communicating in a different way or expressing yourself to the world. Could be because it is conjunct the sun here as well. So the sun is about our clarity and our leadership as well. Um, and so here you could really be changing, and it depends what you're kind of letting go of here, but there is newness definitely here, Gemini, when we have the Mercury showing up in your 11th house of the future. This is change, and it's also in Aries, which is about our new beginnings, right? Your new beginnings, really. Um, and so in Mercury showing up, yeah, in your 11th house, I explained that. And this could be a time, Mercury is retrograde, Gemini, so this could be a time when you're really kind of stepping back to just reevaluate, right? Of course, that's really what Mercury retrograde is about. It's kind of about, well, let me check that again. Let me kind of check those details, or revisiting situations, revisiting patterns, rethinking something, maybe even doing something over again. This can be all Mercury retrograde. All right, so you're stepping back to analyze some personal matters and on some level, and still, of course, Mercury, you're evolving and moving toward what you value. Um, mm-hmm. And so this can be more notable to you as well at the time of the eclipse or during the 6 month kind of chapter that we have, cycle, I should say, that we have, of course, um, with the eclipses. So the sun, where is the sun? As I said, in your 11th house, illuminating your path forward toward your own agency and how you lead your life and helping to clarify where you're going, Mercury, or, Gemini. Here is right next to the sun. Like, it's almost like Mercury is, to me, like the little student, but here he is. He looks like he has a hat on, right? He kind of looks like uh, the the exact kind of almost just like Venus. Venus has a little bit of a bigger, a bigger circle or a bigger head, you might say here. But Mercury is like the student because it's the intellect, and here is your intelligence, Mercury, basically, Gemini. next to the sun, showing you what you know that uh, basically you should be doing, or maybe how you should decide things. But it's basically helping you with clear thoughts, definitely, to illuminate your path forward. All right, and so Mercury represents your fourth house of emotions. Here's Mercury again. So here you are down here, Gemini. Mercury, not Mercury, but Mercury is ruling your fourth house, because here's Virgo, and Mercury is the ruler of Virgo and Gemini. But here we have more mercurial energy here. The South Node is there, letting you know that something has to be let go. Something has to be definitely let go of. It may have to do with maybe you're looking at things different too, with the opposition, with the Mercury and the South Node opposition. You could just be, you might be thinking differently, right? Like, oh, I don't really I don't think that way anymore. I have, all kinds of new attitudes. I have a new attitude about maybe about life in general, and leaving things behind over here with this in the fourth house. Now, the fourth house is about our health and work. It can be about our daily routine. Maybe your whole lifestyle is changing. That could be. But it's definitely about evolving and leaving something behind. And Virgo, yeah, it can be that you are just basically in a whole new way. Maybe you are possibly over analyzing less, or maybe surrendering. It looks like there's some surrendering going on for you, Gemini. It does look like that. And this could be about family in the fourth house right here. So we have, yeah, where this is, Virgo, actually, Mercury as your ruler is also ruling your fourth house of home and family. It can be about moving, it can, but it is about like whatever is supporting us, that is the fourth house, whatever supports us emotionally. All right, so I hope that was helpful for you. Mercury, I beg your pardon, Gemini. And you have plenty of time to revisit old patterns right now. The astrology right now is just really about, it's about taking a step back. But once Aries, the sun moves into Aries on the 20th, hey, anything's possible then, right? It's time to move forward. So we have time right now, a little bit of time before the eclipse, which is on the 29th, which will really bring these endings and these new beginnings. But we really have time between now and then to revisit old patterns, to see what works for us and what doesn't, right? And let's talk about Cancer now. Cancer, your ruling planet is the moon. Every lunar cycle affects you in some manner. It does. And the new moon is in your house of career. So here is the new moon in your 10th house. And here you are over here, moving along to your first house. The moon is there in your 10th house. There could be, you might be, quitting a job. Maybe you're getting a new job. Maybe you are just handling your own leadership, your own personal agency in a different way, because the 10th house is also about, it's about our own authority and ambition, right? Our own authority with ourselves as well, our self-discipline and our determination. And so you may be really determined right now. You could, and maybe you have planted seeds already. As I said, during I believe it was uh, in the end of last year, not the end, but the end of fall, we had, um, I believe we had an Aries, a Libra full moon, but which is really related to Aries and the new moon today. Because Aries is also the opposite sign of Aries is Libra. So we're leaving things behind, and they are related, however Libra or, Venus was impacting you at the end of fall. Whatever you didn't finish doing, you may be doing that now with the new moon. Yeah. Interesting, right? And so Mars, the ruler of the new moon eclipse, is in your first house of self, Cancer. Here it is. And so Mars is there, and we have a square with the moon and Mars. So you have an insatiable need to meet your desires, Cancer, personal or professional. And you might feel a little bit of tension over this. But it seems like it's kind of a good tension. Uh, it can be, although you guys can really be kind of feeling the new moons and the full moons because, and the eclipses, of course, because this is your ruling planet, although the moon is not really considered a planet, right? But we speak in that way, and so you might be healing from old wounds, Cancer, and maybe you're navigating these matters as well. You're definitely navigating what's going on in your life, and but you could be seeing things a little bit more pragmatically around the time of the new moon because the sun is there to kind of offset any need to be overly emotional. You could be seeing things in a more pragmatic way, um, and with a more evolutionary perspective, because that is how these transits, the wheel looks for you, really, or the astrology. You could be healing from old wounds that can be related to family. That definitely can be happening here. When we see the moon squaring Mars, the moon can be about family as well. It definitely can because this is Cancerian, right? The fourth house. And here we have Mars in the fourth house. So what we have here is this is about leaving things behind as well uh, because it's about new beginnings here and really just really going for them. The focus and the focus is on the new beginning, but for some of us, we still have to let things go, right, in order to experience that fully, in order to really step into who we are, which is really about the what the new moon eclipse is all about. All right, so you could be healing from old wounds. They could be related to family, and knowing that these understandings as well. Chiron, there is also a square, I believe, with Chiron, and so with the moon, not with the moon, but with Mars, and so with this we have maybe it is separating because it's not really being shown here on the. Let me have a look at this. Chiron, yeah, here it is actually squaring Mars. Let's exit the full screen and then. All right, let's make this. So it is, Chiron is squaring Mars here. And when we see this, um, it's about healing our insecurities or our vulnerabilities or things that we perceive as our weaknesses, actually perceived or not, right? Perceived real or not. It's just about, this is about, it can be about when we see Chiron in Aries, it can be that you feel some people may feel with that energy just kind of self-conscious all the time, possibly. Maybe having to kind of apologize or just feel kind of not totally in their power, right? So this Chiron in Aries, it's been there a long time. It has given everybody really a chance to kind of heal. But we have Chiron in, so you could be really letting things go, healing. Maybe you're in introspection as well. Chiron is also about our introspection, but it is here squaring. Mars is actually squaring Chiron, right? And remember, Mars is the ruler of the eclipse. So it is relevant to you in your fourth house. And in your first house, actually, with Mars there in your first house of self, and Mars is about the self. So you're definitely healing something, or if not, you're improving it, or you're not letting it bother you. That's what I mean by healing. But this understanding, Cancer, is leading you to more personal growth and inner harmony. So let's see what else we have. Yeah, and the huge stellium in Pisces is in your ninth house of expansion. So here is your ninth house, Pisces, not Pisces. Here's your ninth house, Cancer, in Pisces, right? And we can see you over here. Where are you? And this is 9 houses away, of course. But this ninth house placement, this is where all your power is right now. This is about your expansion in your life, Cancer, with that Mars uh, with Mars in your first house or in your sign, right? Of there, it's the same. Trining these planets here in your 11th house of the future. I mean, your ninth house, I beg your pardon, of expansion. This is about your faith and what you really believe in, like what you value, but what you really believe in your heart, right? About life in general and about who you are. But Mars is in trine with those in the ninth house. It is a good time to believe in your future. It sure is. And it's a time, Cancer, for you to believe in who you are and your path forward. All right. So for Leo, the new moon solar eclipse is in your ninth house of expansion. So here it is. Let's see here. No, the new moon is over here. This is your ninth house in Aries. But this ninth house is about expansion. I was just talking about it, faith, education, and travel. It also represents good luck. It can represent fate and destiny, the ninth house. But the ninth house is really about what's meaningful to you and where you like what's important, what's meaningful, where you potentially want to grow your life or kind of where you want to be, basically. And you're seeing what your heart wants, Leo. The sun is joined with the moon in Aries. All right. So, Aries season in general is really good for you, Leo, because you're a fellow fire sign. So we have the sun and the moon at the time, right? Making a perfect conjunction at the time of the new moon here. But, this is very powerful for you with the moon here. You're able to see what you want, what your heart wants and what you really believe in. Mars, the ruler of the eclipse, is here. It's in your 12th house of closure, endings, intuition. It's also about the ideal, illness and addiction, right? This is Pisces. It's about the 12th house representing it's in Cancer, of course, but your 12th house is Pisces. So is really and it is ruled by the moon here, but it's really the 12th house is the house of Cancer. And we have it being kind of managed here by managed or colored or, flavored, if you will, by Cancer. But the 12th house is about our psyche as well. And it's about wanting the ideal. It can also be about sometimes the 12th house is about not being able to see clearly here, but with the sun in Aries, you're seeing exactly what you need to see, Leo. And so the Mars, that ruler of the eclipse in your 12th house, we also have Chiron right here, showing up in your 10th house. Is that your 10th house? No, it is your ninth house once again here in Aries. So there's going to be some type of healing for you though, Leo, or an improvement, or maybe you have a better, sometimes Chiron can also just be about our attitudes toward what we don't kind of like about ourselves or what we perceive as being somewhat weak or vulnerable or insensitive, right? Sensitivities rather, not insensitive. But this can also be about our physical health. But whatever you're doing here, it is conjunct the moon, so there could be some healing going on. Yeah, here is it's a really loose conjunction here, but no matter because um, yeah, it is still joining forces here in Aries, and so in a very loose conjunction. But Mars, um, right? I mean, this moon here, I beg your pardon, um, and the sun and Chiron all right here. They're just showing you like how you can improve yourself basically because Aries, it's in Aries. This is about how can I assert myself or live like to my fullest. Aries wants to live life to the fullest. It's about taking action, and I believe in this, and I'm doing it, and I'm going after this. Uh, and so you are doing that, Leo. And so Mars is in your 12th house and is also asking you to leave leave things behind that don't no longer serve you. Maybe things that have kind of went on for a very long time, possibly, in the 12th house. But it's asking you to heal old wounds. The 12th house can be about our past and old wounds as well. Um, And the sun will make a perfect conjunction to Chiron. Where's the sun here? To Chiron over here. Excuse me, several days after the new moon, and this is helping you to understand something through reflection or heal it. Okay, and for Virgo, let's talk about Virgo now. And so Virgo, the new moon solar eclipse is in your eighth house of regeneration, intimacy, shared assets, real estate. The eighth house is also about real estate, power, and fear. It can be about, investments, things like that. But this is also the house of ordeals and truth. So often when we have truth, we experience an ordeal. We can, or when we see a truth in the world, something, or in a relationship, we often can go through an ordeal. So this is what I mean by that. And Mercury, your ruling planet, is in Pisces. So let's see, Virgo. Mercury, it's actually not in Pisces anymore. It has moved into Aries. It's right here. It's at 0 degrees. So it has just moved into, at the time of the eclipse, it has just moved into, very newly here into Aries. It's retrograde though, your planet, it is. Um, and so, but it is in your seventh house. It's actually in, let's have a look here if it's in your seventh or your eighth. Okay, it's now in your eighth house. I feel like I mentioned that earlier. No, the new moon is in the eighth house as well, but Mercury's in your eighth house of intimate relationships, all the things I talked about, transformation, just earlier. Um, and so this, yeah, it's in your eighth house here. Your planet here, Mercury, is opposing the South Node. Uh, Right. And so, and the South Node is in your sign. So this is definitely about knowing, like, just very smartly, hey, I need to leave this behind, very intelligently, I should say, I need to leave such and such behind and move on and continue on your path. And it is very personal because the South Node is in your first house, while Mercury is in Aries, which really represents the first house about ourself. So definitely, Virgo, you are evolving and leaving things behind that no longer suit you, or serve you. And so, and this is about your past. It could also be about an opposition can tend to have to do with sometimes it's about change. It definitely is. And we have Mercury in your eighth house. So this is about some type of past communication, possibly. It could be about your relationships showing up in the eighth house. And you could be definitely like leaving something behind, no longer thinking a certain way, possibly no longer seeing relationships in the same way, but definitely you're moving forward here on your own path. You definitely, and so we also have, and also remember too, Virgo, that the South Node here in your first house of self, this is about what we need to learn from, not only what we need to leave behind, but what we need to, we're not just going to leave it behind. We're going to learn from it, right? And move forward. That's the whole idea, isn't it? About evolution. And that's what the North and the South nodes are about. They're about our evolution. It's just that the South node is showing us what really kind of what needs to stay in the past or what we need to learn from and move forward, right? It's always opposing the North Node of fate. And the North Node here is in Pisces is always about where we are going in our life, where we are striving to go, right? To really reach our true potential and to be authentic. To be authentic. Everybody on this planet is a divine being. And it is only when we come to that understanding that we can really have true self-love. Yeah, and yeah. All right. So let's see what else we have for you, Virgo. And we just had a Virgo full moon eclipse. We did, bringing things to light for you and bringing closure or endings as well. So Mercury also is ruling your 10th house. Here it is. This is ruling your 10th house. Yeah, right here. Your 10th house is ruled by Mercury as well, as is your first house, because Gemini, Mercury is the ruler, the planetary ruler for both Gemini and Virgo. So Mercury here is ruling your 10th house of career, authority, ambition, um, and leadership, basically, and discipline and achievement. That's what the 10th house is really about. And conversely, it can be about restrictions. If we are not doing what we really are supposed to be doing, and that's huge, right? That kind of that subject itself, right? Doing what you're supposed, what you came here to do on this planet. But Mercury is ruling your 10th house. And your ambitions and your career, your and personal agency as well, Virgo, especially with the South Node in your first house, leaving things behind or learning from them. This is about your personal agency, like how you assert yourself and how you manage your life going forward, your personal agency. We all have to be take ownership for our personal agency, which, which doesn't only mean that we take responsibility for everything that we've done, of course, and, learn from that, but it means that we take, we're owning our own agency in order to move forward and to create the life that we really want. That is what that is about. And it feels like it seems like here with the astrology that that is exactly what you're doing. Relationships are also really highlighted for you, Virgo, um, with both your seventh and your eighth houses aspected. Let's have a look at that. Yeah, this is your seventh and your eighth house here. The seventh is in Pisces and Aries. Sorry, the eighth is in Aries, but these are both love houses to one degree or another. They really are. And so you just appear to be kind of maybe changing your whole lifestyle, or maybe the way you look at life, relationships in general, life in general could be. Mercury is conjunct Neptune, and here's Mercury. Once again, Mercury is supposed to, Mercury is the student. It can be, right? The teacher as well. But Mercury is all about the mind and learning as well. And here it is showing up here. It's conjunct with Neptune. This is a hidden conjunction because Neptune is in Pisces and Aries. Mercury is in Aries. So there's like a hidden force going on there. But this is letting you really kind of see that your dreams can come true with Neptune there and Mercury giving you, basically guiding you. But this is about your intelligence and how you look at things, basically how you analyze. But this we can see this as the logic and the intuition coming together to which is really the best way to go, right? You cannot totally definitely live your life just through logic, right? And the logic is more for like taxes and things like that. But we always need intuition because intuition is guided by the heart, and whereas logic is guided by the mind. So this is when we live fully, when we integrate both the mind and the heart together. We do, right? Everybody talks about that. Joe Dispenza, uh, Greg Braden. It's all about heart and mind coherence, basically. All right. So let your heart guide your life, Virgo. Let your heart uh, for sure. Let your heart guide you. So let's continue here. Um, and the South Node in your first house of self up here is trining. Where is this trine here? Right here, trining Uranus and the IC both. So with this trine here with the IC, this has to do with your home and family, or your idea of home and family, your idea of who your tribe is. Basically, this can also have to do with your emotional support system, knowing that it's easier to leave something behind here, or feeling this, easier to leave things behind in the past because you know that this is kind of helping you. It's supporting your emotional stability. You're knowing that, right? And so here we have the South Node trining Uranus. Uranus is about change and our independence, our freedom, our innovation, doing things in a newer, a better way. And here it is, once again, trining the South Node is trining Uranus. So this is letting you leave things behind that restrict your freedom and the freedom of who you really are as, as a Virgo, as a person, right? Of course, restricting who you are. But the trine is basically saying, hey, leave these things behind, be ready for change. So you're ready for change in some way, Virgo, because the South Node being in your first house of self, you're definitely ready for change. And to kind of live in a better way. This is how you're seeing it. And there could be unexpected events in your life as well. There really could be. Um, there could, and they could prove to be very meaningful. This sits in your ninth house. Uranus sits in your ninth house of faith and what's meaningful and expansion. What is expansion to you in your life? What is dynamic as well? What you want to grow. You're ready for change here, Virgo, and yeah, and so yeah, you may be eager for newness as well. All right. So for Libra, let's talk about Libra, and this is happening in your seventh house of partnerships. Relating and legalities. All right. So when we say relating, we just mean how you are relating to others. Doesn't always have to be a partnership, right? But the seventh house is in your house, is your house. You rule the seventh house of relationships. And so it's in Aries, right? So Uh, yeah, and so this is your ruling planet Venus right here, Libra, is in Pisces in your sixth house of daily obligations, lifestyle, health, and work. Remember that Venus is retrograde right now. So whatever matters that that are important to you that maybe have to do with possibly with with the new moon in your seventh house, which could have to do with relationships, right? And how you are relating to other people as I said, maybe legalities, but Venus is in your sixth house of daily lifestyle here. It's also about your health and your work. So, we see here that you're striving to do something here. You are, but you're right next to the North Node, this conjunction. But you're taking a step back when Venus is in retrograde. So maybe you are thinking about your relationships, revisiting old relationships. You could be revisiting just maybe old kind of ways to value, or maybe older values possibly, because Venus is also about your values. It can be about your money as well. But Venus is well aspected across the wheel, and with so many planets allied in your sixth house as well. This is your sixth house. So these are working together for you. Um, and so Venus also rules your eighth house. Where is Venus here for you? Venus rules your eighth house, although it's in the seventh. No, let's have a look at this, Libra. Where are you here? Yeah, it does rule your eighth house. Yeah. Yeah, it rules your eighth house. I beg your pardon on that, you guys. But here is Venus ruling your eighth house. This is Taurus, right? Taurus, both you and Taurus share Venus as a planetary ruler. And so, and Venus ruling your eighth house of joint assets. This can be money you make with other people, partners, or spouses, things like that. But it can be any type of money you make with anybody, right? It can be your assets, your investments, 401ks, things like that, in the eighth house. So Venus is here, and Venus can be about your possessions and the money you earn. So this may be related to your money, Libra, whatever you are kind of striving to do here with the new moon. Maybe about your money as well, as I said. But Venus is in a trine with Mars, the ruler of the full moon. So here's Venus making a trine. Here's the triangle to Mars, uh, right? And so making a trine with Mars, the ruler of the full moon eclipse, and both are in water signs. So that means that this is very deep for you. It's deep. You're going to feel this basically. Um, and so there's a softening in your approach to how you manage both your personal life, Libra, and work, or how you handle responsibilities and your daily routine. But this seems to be very just kind of a psychological, something very inward, something personal and inward for you psychologically. And Mars is in your 10th house of authority. This is your 10th house, Libra. It is your 10th house of authority and ambition, increasing your drive to pursue your desires. And so Vesta, the guardian of devotion, harmony, beg your pardon, and balance is in trine with Mars. Where's Vesta? Vesta's up here. And so it's in a trine with Mars right here. And so this is allowing transformation and self-mastery, and this is a time for evolution and personal growth. Libra. All right. So let's talk about Scorpio now. Scorpio, the new moon solar eclipse is in your sixth house of daily obligations, lifestyle, work, and health. So it could be very significant there, or relevant, right? As Scorpio, for you, Scorpio, because Mars is your ancient ruler. It is. So in your sixth house, right? And so this is about new beginnings, new ventures, or a new daily routine. Maybe you have a new lifestyle, perhaps a whole new lifestyle. Could be, it may involve health or work for you. And this is about you creating something, Scorpio, something new that is both functional and meaningful for you at the same time, because the sixth house is about things that work, things that function. This is really, we have Cancer ruling your sixth house. Let's have a look. Where are you here? I beg your pardon, we're over here. So yeah, the sixth house is here. I beg your pardon. Um, and so uh where was I on this? The sixth house is here, but this is about you creating something that is both, yeah, the new moon in your sixth house of daily routine is about you creating a new lifestyle for yourself. Creating, it could just be a new, for some, it may be less extreme, maybe a new kind of routine. You go here first, or you work on this, or you're taking care of kids in the morning instead of in the afternoon, or switch your schedule around, something like that. It can definitely be about that. Um, and Mars is in your ninth house of expansion. Let's look at that. I think I started on that. And here you are. Yeah, this is your ninth house of expansion and growth. It is. And so it's in a trine with these lovely planets in your fifth house of creativity. So here is Mars trining these planets here, and so this is about making things easier for you. It's possible it has to do with love. It could, like relationships. It is definitely a possibility. Um, but this can have to do with kind of your creative endeavors, love. It can have to do with parents and children, even the fifth house. So here you are, and the fifth house is over here in Pisces. And so it can have to do with how you have fun. The fifth house is about, it's that's our fun house. If there's a fun house in the whole zodiac, it would be in Leo, but your fifth house, or in the fifth house. Your fifth house is ruled by Neptune. Uh, you know, and so here we have something fated for you with Mars trining the north node of fate. Here's Mars trining the north node over here. Uh, yeah, very interesting there in your fifth house. This you could get lucky as well, but in something. Mm-hmm. And there's something fated. I feel like that's what I kind of meant by lucky, but there's something fated here as long as you are assuming responsibility in your life, because Saturn is here, and Saturn is the stern teacher right next to the North Node of fate, like going, hey, you're not going to reach that. You're not going to get that. You're not going to like reach that potential, right? Or manifest that, experience that for yourself if you don't have self-discipline here, or determination with Saturn right there. And this is something really good for you during this lunation. Mars is also trining the MC. Where is Mars? Right here. Trining, we see the triangle, trining the MC. The natural house of career and ambition, making things flow for you, Scorpio, in these areas of your life. And the MC can also suggest just higher ups, leaders, father figures in your life. Could be also about a father figure, but you're able to support yourself emotionally and encourage yourself. That is how that's how these transits and the new moon is looking here. You're able to encourage yourself, and that's really great. All right, so for Sagittarius, let's see what we have. This is happening in your fifth house of love, creativity, entertainment. That's where the new moon is. Yes, it is. Yeah. So the new moon sits over here in your fifth house. And so if it sits in your fifth house of love, creativity, entertainment, and leadership. This is your fun house again, your fifth house here. And this is really big for you as the new moon is in a fellow sign, Sagittarius. Mars is in your eighth house of regeneration. So this is really awesome for you. Mars is here basically taking over, taking control, taking action, creating new beginnings, right? This is the epitome of proactivity, right? Here's Mars showing up in your eighth house of transformation. So it's beautiful. Intimacy, shared assets. This can be about your romantic life. It can be about home and family and your creative endeavors as well, because that's where Mars sits in Cancer right here, Sagittarius. Right? Yeah, Mars is it's in your eighth house, but it is in Cancer as well. So Cancer is about home and family. So it can be about either one, right? Because what we have here is the eighth house of uh, we have the eighth house of regeneration, but um, at the same time, this is, you know, really ruled by Cancer here, ruled by the moon. So this is very important to you, I believe, Sagittarius, with this eighth house transforming, changing. This is something about you could be changing something, how you pursue things, or you might want to pursue something brand new. You could be really letting something go. It could be about the old you as well. It's a possibility, but you're definitely letting things go here. And this can influence your money, your personal power. The eighth house is also about money and personal power. So here is the eighth house for you, where Mars sits, right? Your sister sign. So yeah, and this could be also about where you live. Remember, I said Cancer is the moon, or Cancer is kind of ruling your eighth house here because Mars is in the eighth house, but it's in Cancer. So this could be about maybe you're going to be moving. You might really be moving within 6 months because of the eclipse as well. Remember, Mars rules the eclipse, right? You might be moving. You might have a whole new idea of what home is like to you, or what kind of, makes you feel safe and kind of nurtured. It could be that as well. And, maybe you are moving in with somebody as well. Maybe you are moving far, right? It just depends. But there's a change here, definitely. It does look like you're going to either yeah, you might be moving for some of you. And Jupiter, your ruling planet, is in your seventh house of relationships, where it has been since last June, I believe, either last May or last May. And it's going to be changing again in May, I believe, in May or June, but it's going to be going into Cancer, Jupiter. So right now it's in your seventh house of relationships. Uh, and so, and relating to others, right? That's the seventh house. And here it is in Gemini. There's an inconjunct, though, Sagittarius, which is kind of a tense, it can be a little bit of a tense dynamic. It usually creates change, an inconjunction. It can be something you're not really aware of, and it can be something, it can also sometimes suggest that we are procrastinating something, procrastinating in moving forward with when we have this inconjunct. So here's Jupiter creating an inconjunct with the MC and with Vesta. Very interesting here. Let's have a look at that one more time. hmm And so, yeah, and this happens to do, this is have creating an inconjunct with Vesta. Vesta is about our devotion to things, our devotion to others, and the harmony and balance that we create with that devotion, in a nutshell. So here we have Jupiter in conjunct. This is about our growth, our personal evolution, Jupiter, what's meaningful to us, right? And the expansion that we need in our life as we evolve. And here we have Jupiter in conjunct with this with Vesta. You may be trying to let go of something, Sagittarius, and regenerate something possibly, and to believe and trust in it. That's how this is how your horoscope is today. But something's ending for you, allowing a transformation and self-mastery with the Mars Vesta trine. So here's Mars, and it is actually trining Vesta. So yeah, this is in your 12th house of endings, Vesta. Yes. So you're letting something go, but you're seeing that it's like it's meaningful to your life. Yeah, it's important for you. You know that you need to kind of leave something behind, and you know that you need to also kind of you're feeling like you need to merge some type of energy basically between your expansion in your life and transformation, personal change, and devotion in your life, or harmony and balance in your life, and however that affects you, right, in your relationships, or perhaps inner harmony and balance as related to devoting something that is very personal to you, not only a relationship. So for Capricorn, this is all in your fourth house of home and family. Fourth house is also about our feelings, our emotions, our emotional mind. That's the best way to say it. It can also be about us moving, or, our personal address, where you live. It can have to do with that. The fourth house is also about your tribe, Capricorn, and what makes you feel safe, what makes you feel nurtured and, stable, basically. The tribe can be close friends, could be people you work with if you don't have any family, right? Or just people who support you in some way, for those of you who don't have family, right? But Saturn, your ruling planet, is in a favorable aspect um, across the zodiacal wheel. Yeah, it is. And here is Saturn right here. There's nothing going on here that is kind of unfavorable or challenging. No, there's not. And so, and so Saturn, your ruling planet, is in a favorable aspect. As I said, it's in your third house. So here you are, Capricorn. Saturn sits in your third house of the mind. And it is only 3 degrees away. This is about you believing in your future, because here's the North Node, which is 3 degrees away from Saturn. So this is about you really believing in your future. This is about you as well, like having the determination to strive to become the best person, the best you, the best version of you. And so here, it seems like you're determined to create a better version of yourself, seeing things both logically and spiritually. Yeah, that's a good way to look at things. Of course, we're always uniting heart and mind together when we do that, right? We can't let our mind rule our lives, because the ego lives in the mind. The ego does not live in the heart, right? So we let our heart guide us, and we can ask the mind, right? We can consult with it, but it is always wiser to let our hearts guide us. The heart knows what's good for us, and the mind will analyze. The mind will try to figure out what's good for us. Yeah, that's how that works, right? All right, so Saturn, your ruling planet, is in favorable aspect. Of course, I've said that, but it's in your third house also of extended family and siblings. This could be about the neighborhood as well. Saturn right here in your third house, Capricorn. Maybe you are, maybe something's going on with siblings or extended family at this time, and you might feel that it's possibly fated for you. Um, and so Saturn also opposes the South Node, allowing you to transform. Here is the opposition. Saturn's here. Here's the South Node, allowing you to transform past behavioral patterns, to let go and surrender to the flow of life, right? To the universe, to flow with what is, and not try to control every step along the way, right? You're looking at things through the lens of love, Capricorn, it seems so. And knowing that your own evolution is what really matters. So good for you. So for Aquarius, the Aries new moon is happening in your third house of the mind, communication, learning, and travel. All right, so here's the moon right here. Here you are, Aquarius, and right over here. And so this is also the house of siblings, extended family, and neighbors. You could be traveling somewhere with, the new moon in that third house, right? You might be traveling. You might be learning. You could be, maybe you're taking a course of such. It could be, a workshop, or just maybe an online course. You might be learning something new. Saturn, your ancient ruler, Aquarius, is in your second house of earned income. Where is your ancient ruler? Is right here. And this is the house of earned income, possessions, self-esteem, and values. Mars, the ruler of the new moon eclipse, is in a trine with Saturn. Where is Mars? Right here. It's in a trine with Saturn. It is a separating trine, but just the same, we see the triangle here and Saturn is right here, so it is separating. But we're still feeling that a little bit, or you still are. And this is, remember that a trine is always supportive energy. It's things that can happen very naturally if we just kind of let things flow. Because they are both in the same element. So we have here Mars in Cancer, a water sign. And then we have Saturn in Pisces, another water sign, right? Mars is in your sixth house of right here of daily responsibilities, Aquarius, health, and work. This could be your daily routine, right? Also, pets. The sixth house is also about our pets, and this can influence or relate to how you earn your money, Aquarius, and how your daily routine or your lifestyle influences that in some way, right? Uranus, your modern ruler, is in your fourth house of home and family. Here's your fourth house, your physical address sometimes, and your emotional mind. Remember, this is about our feelings, our emotional mind. Yes. And Uranus represents change, innovation, instability, unexpected events, freedom, liberation, doing things our way, very authentically. Uranus is super authentic. It is, this is the inventor, and, it rules Aquarius. A lot of Aquarians, they're different, they're unique, they kind of dance to their own drum, even more than Sagittarius for sure, which, and so here we have Mars is in Cancer, I beg your pardon. Uranus representing change. Uranus is in a sextile. Here it is in a sextile, offering you an opportunity to move along your chosen path. It's in a sextile right here with Mars, right here. And so the ruler of the eclipse, this is allowing you change, allowing you transformation, allowing you to deal with change. If in case change, you experience change kind of unexpectedly, that's what Uranus is about. This is your ability to deal with that. I believe it is here with this sextile with Mars, the ruler of the eclipse, and it's allowing you to evolve, right? Um, Allowing you to move along your chosen path, Aquarius. Uranus also trines. Here's Uranus right here, the little antenna, I like to call it. It is trining the south node. So here we have, this is where you are letting something go, definitely. Allowing an ease to let those things go without any kind of discomfort, really. That's what that trine is about. So let's talk about Pisces now. And Pisces energy is super relative right now. It is because we still have the stellium in Pisces. We really do. And Aries is kind of a reflection of Pisces, really. And they're completely different, right? But it is a reflection of what we have left behind, or not a reflection, but a continuation of what we have left behind, what we have learned to transcend, right? And let those things go and now move into our future with Aries, right? With this new moon and this eclipse. But for Pisces, this is all happening in your second house of money, resources, self-esteem, and values. So, there could be a lot of change there for you, right? In those areas. And so, interesting how Mars rules your second house. That's really interesting because this can make you super dynamic in chasing your dreams, could be making you super like just driven to kind of just to create stability, financial stability in your life. It definitely can be, as the second house relates to our money and our values. Maybe your values are changing as well. They definitely could be with the new moon and the eclipse there. The sun is in your second house too, showing you it's just illuminating, right? Giving you the clarity that you need. It can have to do with love too, because the second house, it's not usually love, but because Venus rules the second house, it also rules the seventh house of Libra. But in this case, this is about the second house. This is about your money, Pisces, and what you value. That's it. And it can also be about your self-esteem could be improving. I feel like your self-worth is improving, and you have Neptune, your ruling planet here, one of them, right? Neptune is here at the 29th degree in your sign, and this is about major change and really transcendence and leaving things behind. It's there for, Neptune, I believe it's going to be changing in 2026, but I don't quote me on that, but it's been there for quite a while, right? In Pisces, but now it's going to be a whole new world with Neptune changing because changing signs, because Neptune, remember, it represents endings and closure and transcendence. So once it has moved into Aries, there's going to be huge changes here, and they will be most likely spiritual changes. And Neptune is also it's also a planet for the collective, right? It is a generational planet as well. It is. So, this is about the collective moving toward a new beginning for themselves and trusting their intuition. And that is happening. It is really happening as we see people evolving, we do. So Jupiter is but you could be seeing yourself different too. Mars is in Cancer in your fifth house, Pisces, right here, in your fifth house of love, creativity, entertainment. This is the fun house, right? So maybe you really want to have fun right now. You definitely could. Mars is in another water sign. That's very good for you, right? Of course, because Mars rules the eclipse and the new moon, but uh, your self-esteem looks like it's improving, or your self-worth, and you may be seeing yourself differently, Pisces, maybe more influential and more powerful around other people. I feel like that's very good. Jupiter, your ancient ruler, is in your fourth house of home and family. Here it is in Gemini, and your emotional mind, right? So the fourth house is about your emotional mind. It happens to be in Gemini for you. Mercury rules your fourth house. And that's really interesting how I see that, because that can cause you, for some Pisceans, to be interesting. Although you guys are, about your intuition, but when you have you know, Jupiter, your ancient ruler, in the fourth house, it can possibly be a time in Gemini. It could be a time where you are kind of, your emotions are kind of back and forth between something intuitive and maybe between the 3D, or kind of the mind, the ego and the mind versus our intuition. But we have Jupiter in your fourth house, and the fourth house is where we feel at home. It's where we feel safe, wherever you call home. It is our emotions that can support us or discourage us. This is what we mean by the fourth house of the emotional mind. So Neptune is it's also in a quincunx Jupiter down here. The quincunx is an inconjunction. It's about, there could be tension when we have an inconjunction. It can be about change that you have no control over, of course, but it can also be sometimes about things we are unaware of, or things that we are procrastinating. Yeah, with the inconjunct. And so there's one between Jupiter and Vesta. Here's your planet, and here's the inconjunct, the little kind of cart, sort of. Looks like kind of a workhorse cart, sort of, like a seahorse, sort of a seesaw rather. But here's Jupiter trining Vesta, and this is not trining, but in the quincunx. This is, an inconjunct. And so this is about your personal expansion and your state of harmony and balance. Maybe there's something that is kind of, in a way, like, that is kind of challenging you a tiny bit here, with regards to your expansion, and then your personal safety, perhaps, right? Or what makes you kind of feel safe. You could be drawn between something that, you're trying to create balance there between the two, and but because both are equally important, right? We all want to expand and move forward in our life, but we want to feel safe while doing it. Aries is not really the kind of energy, though, where it is the energy where we will feel safe, because we will be so driven. We will just, I got to do this. We won't have that much time, I don't believe, to be worried. It is about pursuing our desires, Aries, right? The new moon eclipse. So, but there could be something that's kind of challenging in that, between those two, right? Between your expansion, personal growth, possibly, and peace and harmony, sort of, or balance, inner balance, in your world, right? And this is, you could be also questioning your beliefs, Pisces, possibly, and how they influence your evolution and your path ahead. It sounds like you are growing here, evolving. That's how it sounds. But Neptune is your modern day ruler. Here's Neptune Pisces, and it's part of the planetary alignment that is joining forces in your first house of self. So, this is a good time for you, in my opinion, when you have your own ruling planet in your first house. Will be there for a little while longer. The North Node is in your first house. This is all about your evolution, Pisces, change, evolution. Yeah, and Saturn is there, just kind of reminding about the self-discipline and the self-determination. Saturn's always there reminding, kind of pointing a finger, right? Testing us even. And this 29 degree with Jupiter here in your sign, in your first house of self, this is definitely about your evolution. And I think, as I said earlier, it's about the collective evolution as well. Mars here, the ruler of the eclipse, is trining your Neptune, right? And here it is, the triangle here, trining your Neptune, rendering more energy with compassion to help others heal or simply be there for others. This can be about your own healing as well. It can, with Mars trining Neptune, because remember, the eclipse is about endings and new beginnings. It's about doing what we need to do for us. That's what Mars is about, the self. And so, yeah, and so you might be, maybe you are healing something within. You may understand very intuitively, Pisces, where to place your energy. You could be really in that place, like, hey, I don't want to place my energy over here. It's you're looking at things. Will it be fruitful or fruitless? While you may be a healer and an empath, Pisces, too, take care not to leave yourself too exhausted with the energy of those who are troubled or going through their own difficulties, because you can lend an ear, but when we spend too much time with people who are really saddened, and it can affect us, especially Pisces, because Pisces is the natural empath, one of them in the horoscope, right? In the zodiac rather. And so yeah, self-care is very important. This is what I mean. So when we're empaths, often you guys are empaths. So when you're empaths, you're reading other people, just feeling them, taking in their energy. And if it's quite negative after some time, it can really affect us and put us on kind of in a down spiral. So keep your eye open for that. It looks like you are practicing self-care. You have Venus in your first house. So, I would, that's a good thing. Um, and so, yeah, be careful not to let your energy be drained here, because um, yeah, because your energy can be depleted as a water sign, Pisces. All right. So remember to care for number one. So thanks so much for watching, and I hope that was helpful. Yeah, please like, share, and subscribe, and hit the little bell in order to receive all my notifications. I'll see you in the next video.